All right. So, welcome back again to Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. As always, I'm joined by Heather, and
Hello.
I'm that other dude, Andrew. And good to have you with us, you out there who are watching this show. And Heather, obviously, always great to have you too. Um, so today we're doing episode number 43. We're going to talk about the bands Savanah, Corroding Sun, and Afghan Haze.
Yes.
So these were your picks. I suggested the tracks because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
So kicking things off, let me just get my notes. Kicking things off, we're going with the album Deep Shades from Savanah, who I believe are from Austria.
Yeah.
So if there's any other details you want to throw in.
Just that Deep Shades, I believe it was an EP that came out in 2015.
Okay, so 7 years. Nice. And the first track we're going to kick off with off Deep Shades is the self-titled track Deep Shades.
Oh, you know what? I didn't do that one.
That's okay. That's
I,
okay.
I did Painful Illusion and Endless Sleep.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I what was great about your your win-loss percentage with regard to suggesting bands is like astronomically off the charts in the win columns. But even so, like there are bands that you suggest we listen to that I like, but they're probably not going to find their way into a continual rotation. Like I'll listen to them every so often, but when this first track came on, when Deep Shades came on, I was like, okay, this is similar to when you had suggested Slow Green Thing, and I was like immediately, okay, they've found a place. So what I dug about this track, it reminded me of the song "A National Acrobat" by Black Sabbath, which is one of my favorite songs. So right away, I was like, oh, well, this is clearly in my wheelhouse. And then it veers off into a sonic psychedelic journey. I definitely had a side head nod going. And then I liked how they employ, and they do this throughout, they employ like a quiet, loud, quiet type sort of thing, which I really liked. I said, if this is signs of things to come, then we're on a good start. And
Yeah.
then there was a bit at the end of like, let me just show you a little of my skill. I'm not, again, I thought of the Milton Berle, just pull out enough to win.
Yeah.
I was like, these musicians are really incredible, but they're just showing me enough to win.
Yeah.
That was my thought for Deep Shades. And then next up was Painful Illusion.
Okay. I really like the blend of desert rock and heavy psych. The vocals have this hypnotic power that pull you in. A music friend of mine gave me a Bandcamp code for this, and that's how I got to know this band. I got a Bandcamp code and I downloaded it and listened to it, and it just completely blew me away, and I've been a huge fan ever since. Incredibly high quality, and it's just at another level.
Yeah, with this one, it was sort of a somber and melancholy opening. But I wrote, I'm down, meaning that, I'm along, I've bought the ticket, I'll take the ride. Um, and then I just wrote, tell me where to sign. Like I was, being inducted into an armed force, the Savannah Armed Forces. And I was like, okay, I am now a member of this group. Uh, I really there it is a unique vocal delivery, which I dig. Um, and then obviously great riffing. And I remembered, I don't know why I thought of it. This is I remember listening to the comedian Patton Oswalt talk about sometimes on YouTube he'll find highlights of the former Bears running back Gale Sayers, because there will just be highlights of Gale Sayers, doing these incredible runs and making it look so effortless. And I was like, this is the sonic equivalent of a Gale Sayers highlight run. So, so Savanah, if you're looking for a really obscure pull quote, feel free to. Some dude in a fedora said we sounded like a football player, but
one of the greatest football players.
yeah,
Yeah.
and to watch him do a run like this where he's just dodging tackles so effortlessly, it was like listening to these musicians play these songs that seem to me to be really complex, and it just comes off so awesome. So I knew you'd appreciate the Gale Sayers reference.
Yeah.
But okay, so then the final track we were going to listen to is Endless Sleep.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about our podcast is we cover mostly bands that are in the stoner and doom genre, but it's such a huge umbrella that fit so many different types. There's so many different subgenres and so many different types of music that are under that umbrella. And we talk a lot about a lot of different bands, but they all their sound, even though they're under the umbrella of stoner and doom, they sound so unique and so different from each other. And I think that's what makes this great. And that's what I love about our show. I love featuring these bands that they all sound so different from each other. And this band is one of those bands that just has their own unique sound, and it's so much different than what you'll hear even from bands within the same genre. It fits under doom and it fits under stoner, but it also has a heavy psych. It's incredible how many bands are in these genres. That's the beauty of this music. And the mixture of the vocals and the guitar, it just has this incredible sound.
Yeah, I just wrote this riff really spoke to me. I imagined it was probably similar to when 12-year-old me or 13-year-old me heard Smells Like Teen Spirit for the first time and was like, oh wow, this is a game-changing riff. Like this is and then I thought of the scene in the film Almost Famous where Philip Seymour Hoffman says the only real currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with somebody when you're uncool. And I was like, I could picture myself sharing this riff with someone, just to kind of like, not to earn street cred or anything, but just be like, this is a band you should be listening to expand your mind. And that is one of the wonderful things about this music, these bands, is that technically you can group them all together because they're playing similar forms of music, but each band has a unique sound. So, and Savanah has definitely, I haven't heard of another band that sounds like them, just in terms of the combination. So, off to a rip-roaring start. And then next up was The Healer.
Yeah. Yeah, and The Healer, that's from 2017. And the first song that I had was Mind.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Mind, off The Healer.
Yeah, and I actually felt this song when I listened to it. I actually felt this song in my chest. There's these amazing soulful vocals, and I actually felt the power of the guitars. The music is heavy with an incredible groove and atmosphere to it. When I listened, I was thinking that I didn't remember how heavy this was. but it's done in such a beautiful way that it just doesn't seem as heavy as it is.
Yeah, I wrote this is what stoner is, and then a psychedelic wah, because I guess they have a wah wah pedal in the intro. Uh, just brute force, and then it dissolves into somber melody. Another example of the loud, quiet, loud sort of template. Really powerful vocals, and then the tempo changes, and I feel like there should be like a military general saying something like "Let loose the hordes" or "Release the dogs of war," and then this music would play. So yeah, I get and well, next up we have The Healer off of the album The Healer.
Yeah. Deceptive heaviness. I love music that is deceptively heavy. When he sings, "Oh, you are my healer," I was like, yes. Yes, this is awesome. And then absolutely incredible guitar part. Then the song slows down again, and the pounding drums really drive home the "Oh, you are my healer. Oh, you are my prophet." It's just such a great song. I think this song might be my favorite of theirs.
Well, it's certainly a wonderful choice for that. I had difficulty picking favorites for this band. There wasn't. I mean, all the songs sort of stood out in their own way. Um, that it was hard to prioritize them. For this one, I realized that like this is what I'll. I mean, I'm not creating this term, I'm sure, but a lot of the time when we listen to psychedelic stuff on the show, it's what I like to call spacey psychedelic, where you feel like you're floating in space. But this was like really stoner psychedelic, like really desert rock, types a little heavier, not as airy and spacey and whatnot. Um, and I recognized the album cover. I don't know from where I recognized it. Probably a YouTube algorithm suggestion, or when I was doing a deep dive at some point. But I remembered seeing that figure on the cover and being like, oh, okay, I should probably check this out. And of course, I never did. But um, and then the tremendous intro just goes into a slow tempo jam, and the side head nod was. I almost caught myself doing a forward head nod, and I was like, just be careful. Um, but then I wrote, I just re-upped for more service. So I guess I've joined the legions of Savanah. Um, and yeah, I noticed that I like the for "You are my healer, you are my prophet, treat me like a slave." So it was interesting how there's like lyrically, it's really seems like a really complicated relationship. Um, but then yeah, just musicianship out the wazoo. And I don't know the origination of that colloquialism, but I like it. So musicianship out the wazoo, or as my father might say, out the kazoo.
Because you.
Yeah, I don't know where he got that. But. And then the last track off this album was "Panoramic View of Stormy Weather."
This is a massive song. It has so many intricate parts that are expertly woven together. It's in an 11-minute song. When I heard it, I was like, wow, what did I just listen to? And then I had to listen to it again. Really beautiful guitar playing, and I noticed the bass and the tone that it gives. And I don't really like to compare bands to each other, but I saw a comment on Bandcamp that said this was for fans of Red Scalp. And we had talked about Red Scalp previously, and it didn't really click for me. And then when I heard this song, I'm like, oh yeah, I can definitely see the Reds why they would say that. And it's just because I like Red Scalp so much, and I like this band so much. And that would be that's just the only reason I brought it up. I just thought it was interesting that someone compared the two like that. And we had previously talked about Red Scalp. Um, I think I might have a type when it comes to music.
It's certainly possible, but it's an awesome type, and I would probably join you. Um, yeah, first panoramic view of stormy weather. The title, I was like, this is an incredible title. Um, and then it's a subdued opening, more subdued opening. The previous songs, a lot of them seemed to sort of drop like a hammer, and really sort of grab you by the shirt lapels. This one was much more subdued. This was like a seduction. Um, but there's again restrained. I feel like there's restrained like at any second the floor may drop, and it'll just be riffs up the kazoo. But yeah, I wrote not since Slow Green Thing. Every song has been a jam. And then of course the floor does drop out and it becomes an excellent stoner jam. So yeah, so far really there hasn't been a song that I've wanted to uh I don't, this doesn't happen often, but occasionally there's like, yeah, I could probably forward this 20 seconds and I'll still be in the heart of the song, and on like a 14-minute long song. But with this one I didn't even have the desire to be like, yeah, let me just go ahead a little bit. I was like, let the song just play out. Um, and then that brings us to the last album from Savanah, Olympus Mons, and the first track was Velvet Scarf.
Yeah. And, it seems like with every album, they move their sound forward just another step. It's incredible. The album art is really amazing too. And I like the different shades of blue. I thought that was very striking. And the bluesy guitar is really nice. I really like the effect on the vocals, it sounds more haunting and psychedelic, almost like they are floating, but it's not too much, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, this I felt like well, I was looking ahead at 1872. Velvet Scarf opens, it's more of a bluesy, somber stoner riff. And then, of course, the song kicks into hyperdrive with more complex playing. But yeah, it's been interesting to sort of note their uh, progression as they move forward in recording albums. It's like you can tell it's the same band, but they're experimenting a little bit with their sound as they continue to make music. Okay, so next up after Velvet Scarf was 1872.
Yeah, I like the heavy doom parts, and I also like the bluesy, heavy psych parts. Soaring vocals, and there's lots of guitar here, from soft riffing to heavy, heavy parts with lots of different sounds. Light parts and heavy parts throughout, like you said, the slow, the loud, quiet, loud thing. Um, this makes for a very interesting and creative song that is more like an experience.
Yeah, I felt like this one, 1872, had the most melodic vocals while staying in the framework of sort of the compositions they've had before. Um, this is one I think I'd play for someone who's not familiar with this type of music, to be like, this is really accessible, and it sort of demonstrates what the stoner doom that I listen to should sound like. Like this would be a great way. Like I feel like I could sit down, for example, with my mother and have her listen to it. I don't necessarily think she'd like it, but I don't think she would say it sounds like Metroid, which is really at all I'm going for at this point. So, but yeah, I felt like 1872 was sort of like the textbook example of like, this is what I would show someone. And then the last track, Olympus Mons. which is the title. I think we've picked tracks also the title of the albums.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right. So, what do you think of Olympus Mons?
I just have three words. Oh my goodness. I actually do have more words. Um, Olympus Mons, it's a large volcano on Mars. That's such a great name. It's such a great name for a song and for an album. This song is I just feel like it's a culmination of everything, that they've done in this one song. Um, I would say definitely do not sleep on this band. They're doing great things, and I don't say that lightly.
Yeah, I mean this again, they really have the sort of loud, quiet, loud formula down really well. Um, and I was also going to bring up that Olympus Mons is a large shield volcano on Mars, but you also did your homework. Uh, but I somehow like somehow they managed to sort of capture that sonically. Like if you were to say to me, okay, what would a large shield volcano on Mars sound like? I would probably play this song and be like, well, this is what I imagine it would sound like. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, definitely when I go to school later today on the train, I will be listening to Savanah. That's how big of an impact they've had. So, cool. All right. So, next up,
Right.
we can either do Corroding Sun or Afghan Haze.
How about Afghan Haze?
Okay, Afghan Haze from Connecticut. What are your thoughts on Afghan Haze?
Yeah, and their album is Nihilistic um, Stoner Hymns, which I think is an awesome name for an album. This came out in 2020. We were fortunate that they did a live stream show for us in our Facebook group. We also have it on, it's also on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and see it. It was awesome. And they will be in our first live stream festival in October, which I'm super excited about. The band name is awesome. The name of the album is awesome. And they have awesome names for their songs like Burn the Goat, Blood Ritual, Welcome to Drug Mountain, Faceless Dog, Southern Bastard Church, Melon Heads, and Succubus Fucks. My favorite song on the record is Southern Baptist Church, or Southern Bastard Church, not Baptist, Bastard. I also really like the song Melonhead. I like that one too. This is heavy, and it's great how chill and nice these guys are, but their music is brutal and relentless. Heavy doom and slug with twinges of psychedelia. One of their tags on Bandcamp is booze metal. I thought that I thought that was great. I can't wait to see their live stream in October. I'm really excited about it. It's gonna rule.
Absolutely. I'm just looking up something you reminded me of that I'm going to mention. So, one of my favorite quotations. This is because you had said that they're really nice people, but the music is really, uh, it's really heavy. And so Gustave Flaubert said, "Be regular and ordinary in your life, so that you may be violent and original in your work." And I feel like that's how a lot of these bands are. Like you meet them and they turn out to be the nicest people in the world, and yet they make music that you wouldn't think would come from such nice people. um, so yeah, first thing, Afghan Haze is a strain of marijuana. And so if you're looking them up on Google, be sure to type in Afghan Haze band, otherwise you'll go down a completely different rabbit hole. um, and that actually reminded me of the first year I was teaching middle schoolers. uh, we would have study halls that we'd have to proctor, and one of my friends had a student who was doing science homework for geology. So she looked up, she had to look up something called rock cleavage. And you can imagine, an 11-year-old, 12-year-old student with ADHD and learning differences who probably just typed in or cleavage. And all of a sudden, my friend, who is my colleague who is teaching, just hears this poor kid go, "No, no, no, no!" And he races over, and obviously, so then he emailed the other teacher and was like, "You may want to tell them not to type in cleavage." So anyway, Afghan Haze banned. Nihilistic Stoner Hymns. The only thing I kept thinking about is in Lebowski, where he says they kept saying they were nihilists. They don't believe
Yeah.
in anything. But yeah, it's a phenomenal name for an album. Um, it's really it is really heavier. Um, it's a great combination of sort of doom stoner sludge. It's very deep and guttural. I remember listening to Scott Wino from The Obsessed, and um, when he was a member of what's the band name? Why can't I think of it? He was their lead singer for a brief period of time. Um, Saint Vitus. When he was in Saint Vitus, he said the music hits you in the gut. It's like real. And I was like, oh yeah, this music hits you in the gut, like you feel it in your chest. Um, it's real deep guttural. Uh, Also, unfortunately, the original drummer Randall Claiborne passed away earlier this year. So R.I.P. Randall. I know they have a new drummer whose name I couldn't find, but they're in the process of getting things back up to speed. So for the festival, they will be prepared. That'll be on October 22nd. We will definitely keep you in the loop. But yeah, I mean, it's a great album if you're looking for like clean precision playing, then this isn't really for. And by that I don't mean that the recording sounds bad. I just mean that like this is distorted, deep, sonically guttural stuff. So know what you're getting involved with when you but run, don't walk to put on the album. And
Yeah.
then the final act is Corroding Sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And they're from Germany. And Corroding Sun, it's a self-titled album and it came out in 2019. The music is fast and powerful, fast, heavy drumming, intricate guitar work, and it has both clean and harsh vocals. And I would say it's a mixture of melodic death, thrash, and power metal. Mostly it's just heavy effing metal. So that's what it is. The singer, Sasha Rose, he's a great guy, very talented artist as well. And you can see if you go to their Instagram page or their Facebook page, you can see some of his work on there. It's pretty interesting what he does. And then listening to this music, it made me feel good. It's more amped up and energetic. Revisiting this album and the Afghan Haze album, it was just joyful. And I just feel incredibly grateful to be friends with, you know, people that are in the metal community and being a part of the metal community, even if it's just a small little tiny part. I feel really grateful. Um, not only is it fun listening to these albums, but it's also fun talking about these albums and trying to convey how great it is, and that this is a great album.
yeah, it was interesting because when I sometimes I'll look on Bandcamp or the internet and see like how they're labeled. And they said that Corroding Sun was sort of a thrash. Um, that was like the cornerstone of it. But as you mentioned, I felt like there's much more. It's more three dimensional than just thrash metal. There's some death in there. There were a lot of double bass drum beats that I thought were cool. Um, there were a couple moments where I felt like Sasha's vocals reminded me of James Hetfield from Metallica, but it's not. There were only a few occasions where that was. And then there's also, there's violins in the song Just Reflections. So they have a ton of stuff. And I also agree with you. I wrote, this is an album if you're looking to get hyped up. So if you're looking to take a nap and relax at the end of a hard day, this is probably not the album for you. But if you're looking to do anything else, and maybe you're the type of person who needs fast-paced music to take a nap, in which case this is the perfect album for you. But yeah, definitely check out Corroding Sun. Check out Sasha Rose's art on social media. Pick up Afghan Haze's album, Nihilistic Stoner Hymns, and just say that phrase because it's a fun phrase. And then, I'm pretty sure any album from Savanah will be an incredible experience. So, and then of course Heather has gone through the trouble of putting together a playlist, which hopefully you've listened to before you've watched us speak, so you have an idea of what we're talking about. But if you haven't, you can hit pause and go back, check it out, and then come back to where you are. It'll be like you never left.
Yes.
So cool. Well, so that was episode 43, Savanah. We'll be back next week with 44 because that's how numbers work. And yeah, and then in October, we've got our first live stream music festival. So that'll be awesome with Afghan Haze and Building Upon the Revelation, Grave Next Door, and Clay Soldiers, and Death and Gloria. They're 5.
Yes.
So it'll be a solid scheduled performance from a ton of great musicians.
Yeah.
So, and you can be part of this, as Heather mentioned, being a part of this community and being able to interact with people is what makes it so worthwhile. So definitely reach out, let us know what's up. And in the meantime, be well. Heather and I will be back next week. As always, thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you.
And have a great rest of the day.